Hello again folks, it's me Christina again, and you can join me here in this video called My Black Metal Past, Transition and New Music, but right after the intro. Yeah guys, thank you for joining me. Let's be more than metal together. Let's talk about my past as a black metal musician. I began to play music at the age of 10. When I was 10, I wanted to learn the guitar because previously I was listening to, where it is, Metallica's Master of Puppets. And the sound of the guitar, it was the sound of my inner feeling. Because, if you have watched previous videos of me, you probably have learned that I was molested and raped by a Catholic nun in elementary school for being trans. And it wasn't just the events that took place with the fucking nun. I also dealt a lot with being bullied in school because of who I was. So yeah, I didn't have much friends. And basically what did I had to do after school, after finishing homework? I kinda went in my room and had nothing to do. I drew a lot, I did a lot of pencil sketches and stuff. But after I was listening to Metallica for the first time, I knew I wanted to do that. And so yeah, I began to play the guitar. I learned it in school where I was attending at the Rektor, we call it in German. So the principal, yes, that's the word, the principal, gave guitar lessons, but it was, it was so boring because the most rock and rollish thing we ever learned was knock knock knocking on heaven's door from Guns N' Roses. So I nearly puked. I really wanted to play Maiden, I wanted to play Metallica, I wanted to play the heavy stuff, but yeah, that never happened in the lessons from the school principal. So yeah, I nearly wanted to quit to play guitar after 2 years, barely succeeding at it because the music we were looking into wasn't quite that satisfying to me personally. And so I got a book with tabulaturen, so without notes. And the author of the book was named Peter Bursch, and I started out with Peter Bursch's rock guitar, and then later on I inhaled Peter Bursch's rock guitar Spezial, which was the addition to the rock guitar book itself. But yeah, and then I used YouTube to learn a little bit because I was born in 1990. The internet was still a new kind of thing back then. And I really tried YouTube. I found Machtklang video and all the guitar wizards, and got into alternate picking and sat there all day long after school because I had no friends at all. I finished my homework and then, like a mad person, basically I played until my fingers bled. Yeah, and that was what time was it? I think it was, I started to play the guitar in the 2000s, 2002. I wanted to hang it on the nail, but then I found the rock book, and then I think it was 2003 or 2004, I guess. I really, took guitar seriously and wanted to get into a band and get somewhere, get myself going. But in the rural town where I live, most people played normal music or not metal music. We had a lot of punk rock bands, but I'm not really a fan of punk rock. I do not dig that three accord punk rock stuff. I always wanted to play some complex stuff, like in Metallica, like in Megadeth, like in those bands, And either the bands were already full, or either the genre they played wasn't my exact cup of tea, or yeah, they just wanted not to have me around because, yeah, I can't remember what situation that they told me that I'm too good for them, maybe if I can play a little bit worse, so yeah, I could join, and I said, no, what the fuck, you know. So basically I began in my little room where I had a shitty computer. I began to yeah, build my little home studio, sort of saying, and I had no clue on audio engineering. I had no clue on doing a setup for recording, how to put your microphone in front of the amp. I had zero clue. I had a shitty program. I think it was called Magic's Music Maker number 2 or something. It was so crappy, it always crashed. I can't remember recording stuff and then forgetting to save it, and then my computer or the program was crashing, and yeah, I had to re-record it, basically, yeah, the whole session, which was such a pain in the ass. And you know, in order that I had no clue how to record properly, how to mix and master, my recordings of course sounded like shit. And I had so much songs, I tried so much songs to record, which I barely made it into something because it was just noise. It was like a, you know, like a truck is crashing with another truck and a motorcycle driver, and everybody is dying in an atomic explosion or something. It was horrible. And yeah, kudos to my parents basically for allowing me to do that, yeah, chaos. So, you know, I started then out by thinking, okay, there is a thing called black metal. And, you know, with my hatred I had for Christianity because of what the nun did to me, and, you know, as a kid you pray, please God, make that the nun on the next day won't touch in my panties, and yeah, making me hurt. I had so much anger inside me, and due to the bullying, I had no friends, so I was really sitting after school with myself. And I knew that there was something called black metal, and the quality wasn't that well recorded, like on a Judas Priest record or something. So I kind of combined my lack of skill with my hatred for Christianity and God, basically. And I began to record my own music, which was with a one-person project, basically, called Finsterort, which is a name play, basically, with 2 German names, which is Finster, which means dark, and Ort, which means place. So basically, the project was my inner dark place, sort of saying, yeah. And I had 2 band logos. The first logo was with FHINS, 3 T's for 3 inverted crosses, and then ORRTH, I think. And nobody could pronounce it. So I swapped it out to an easier to read and to pronounce logo, but also at the same time trying to dig my own path a little bit. I always wanted to portray my own thing, or give my own thing to the mix, basically. So yeah, and I kind of merged it together. You know, the first records, the first one was Christenkult. and the second one was, I cannot remember what was the second one. Yes, To Hail the Ancients. It was about the Sumerians. And the third record was Reaching Another Sphere, because I had a pet spider and that pet spider died and I was so sad and I was heartbroken, and yeah, I did a really weird example on that record just for my deceased pet spider I had. Yeah, and after that, I had, I think I had the fourth one, which was the 100th anniversary of the Fallen Angel. And with each album, my recording got a little bit better. So if you listen to it, you will hear the slight increased steps. But it was still crappy and it was still shitty and it was, yeah, just raw and honest. And after that, 2015, I had my complete breakdown where I tried to kill myself. And yeah, I had a lot of stuff to do with me being institutionalized for 6 months. And yeah, I really had to put the puzzle pieces together for myself, and I lost my flat where I was living. I lost my job, so I lost basically everything. So I outed myself and had made the decision to undergo my transition. When I was into my transition, I had so much time and so much work to reflect on myself, because I had underwent a medical transition with surgeries, with hormone therapy. In Germany, you had to go to 2 psychologists to kind of monitor you, which was not a bad thing at all, but it was such a it was 2 years basically, and I felt like I was hanging in the air, kind of nothing going forward, nothing going, I just were hanging in the air, and it pissed me off big time. So I really wanted to create another album with Finsterort, but I really didn't felt like I could do a proper album with guitars, bass, and all the necessary stuff. So I recorded something using only a bass, some drum samples I had, and I just yelled and I just screamed my lungs out. And that was 2017, I guess, where I started with the first Being Alive is Beautiful album, which was called Schutt und Asche. Basically a fusion out of doom metal and some black metal, kind of mishmash. And it really morphed a little bit into therapy for me personally, because, you know, when I was in my early stages of transition, I had basically to go into a second puberty, which wasn't really easy. And I also had to deal with my stuff I was carrying around from my past, like, you know, being molested, having to deal with all these aftermath from the bullying. It was a really rough time, to be honest, and I'm so glad I had created this little side project for me called Being Alive is Beautiful. Over the time, I did a second album and I did a third album, and you know, my health got better. I felt finally at home in my body, and the way of recording got also better because I made steps forward. I developed myself, and you know, weirdly, in a weird way, the project Being Alive is Beautiful, it really found a little fans, I guess. People were writing me emails from all across the globe, and yeah, I have so many cool stories with these projects. It's great, but you know, at a certain point, I didn't felt like this was fulfilling me, because you know, this depressive doom black metalish thing with Being Alive is Beautiful, it was kind of an outlet for me when I was feeling down, when I was feeling depressed, when I was feeling completely broken inside. And that it was nice to have this chance to plug in that bass, to crank the gain on the amp, and then to play it with just my full heart attached to it. I just went blindly forward, and it was therapy. So yeah, at a certain point, I felt that I didn't need it anymore, because, you know, my body is a temple, and I really like my temple right now. In the years with Finsterort, as I started out, I had really this dark place. I had really to cosplay a man, which I never wear. And in my dark place, there was this true me, sitting in total darkness, wanting out, you know, until then, 2015, I tried to unalive me. So with the transition, I kind of peeled off the skin a little bit of my Finsterort past and of the past with Being Alive is Beautiful, and I was ready to record new music. But when I was recording my new music, I had to find my sound at first. Then I was so overrushed with music I wanted to get in to play myself, because all I used to do was black metal. So I was getting into blues, I was getting into a little funk, I was getting into so much different genres to play and to learn, and it was so fun that it took so long to create my now actual music with my now actual band called Saint and Holiness, which will be my main band for the future. So, you know, but when life is happening, I had this bad workplace in the city hall. Then I knew to myself, I cannot go with continuation with my now new music. I had to get a step back and to resurrect my project Finsterort, which is now called Machtklang. And I did basically the same which I did with Being Alive is Beautiful, took it as a kind of form of therapy. I refer to Being Alive and to Machtklang as my vomit bucket projects. And I vomited out all my hatred I had kind of gathered inside myself when I was working in the city hall. And then I started to work on my actual music with Saint and Holiness. And you know, and black metal is still a huge thing, but I'm not really so much attached to it anymore, because I like to play so much different music with my gear, and I really like to expand and tell my whole story with all the colorful variations that I'm capable of playing. And it would be so one-dimensional if I just would stick just to this one genre. I'm really not anymore the person who is making corpse painting into her face. I still have the studs and nails and all the stuff, but I do not really feel like flicking on the switch, sort of saying, when somehow Being Alive is Beautiful or Machtklang would be booked for a gig. I really do not feel like it, because, you know, Machtklang is full of rage and full of hatred, and I do not feel right now going outside and pretend to flick the switch and pretend to be in the zone where I was at when I recorded and released it. Same goes for Being Alive is Beautiful. I am not seeing myself in the zone, flicking the switch backstage, going on the stage and kind of cosplaying that sad, depressive person I was back then. I do not see this, honestly, and so I decided to step away from it out of respect for myself and out of respect for the black metal genre itself, because in my opinion it is not the spikes and the studs and the inverted crosses which is defining black metal. No, it is the ability, in my opinion, to think black metal, to embody black metal with its energy and with its soul. The cherry on top is just the appearance, but I do not feel like I could provide it anymore. And so, out of respect, I stepped away. I'm now doing my new music, which is with Saint and Holiness. And you know, I really like black metal still. I began back then with the band Gorgoroth, of course, Dark Funeral, and many more. The German black metal band Baxaxa is a huge favorite. And yeah, Urgehal, Gokraft Torment, Nefas, goddamn, they rule. And I really like black metal still. And you know, Being Alive is Beautiful is not being ended. So is Machtklang not being ended. But it's on a hold, because I really like to have these two projects to my right, which is Machtklang, which is Rage, and to my left, which is Being Alive, which is Sadness. I really like to have these projects available for me in the way that when, you know, life is again shitting in my face, I can go back and I can grab a project and I can really play the saddest, depressive, doomish black metal, or when I'm really pissed, super pissed, that I can go back to Machtklang and release and unleash my rage there. And you know, having my now main band, Saint and Holiness, where I will tease the album teaser in a video demonstrating some riffs and stuff on the official channel for Saint and Holiness. Feel free to check it out. I'm so looking forward to play music I now really love to play, to mix it up, to kind of build a Frankenstein from multiple genres. Of course, having a little anger in my songs and a little sentimentality in my songs, maybe, or sometimes. But also have songs where you can just bang your head, have your drink, have a great time basically, and yeah, just shred your head off. And after that shred your head off solo, going into a psychedelic funky part. Yeah, I really like to have my musical life now very colorful and to celebrate life, but not to forget where I came from. This is so super important to me. And you know, to wrap this video up, no matter who you are, if you're just starting out, or if you are in a band, or if you're experienced, if you are a pro musician, just follow your heart. I never want to sell out myself to any fucking trend. You know, call me a poser, call me untrue, call me whatever you like. I do not give a single fuck, because I only want to play what feels authentic to myself, and I only want to wear what feels authentic to myself, and not play an avatar anymore, which I had to in my past as a child and past as a young adult. I'm so sick of it. And you know, do yourself, be inspired by people. I have many musicians who inspire me and still inspire me, but I really try to cook my own soup out of it and to kind of develop myself new, kind of be 1% better tomorrow as the day I was before, because after 100 days I will be 100% better. In order of that, have a great time guys, be blessed, and thank you so much for watching.